The game never stops, and neither do we. Welcome to the SDH Network, around the corner from everywhere. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Espresso, brought to you by Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. Today's Boxing Day, and it's the day that's meant football in England for nearly 140 years. But this year, it looks a little different. Just one Premier League match on the calendar, Manchester United hosting Newcastle. You still have a lot of matches in the lower divisions. It's still tradition, but it's trimmed down just a little bit. At the same time, the African Cup of Nations hits match day number 2, and the pressure's already building across the groups. Results start to matter more. Voices get a little bit louder. The stakes rise. It's moving day. Let's get into it. Let's start with Boxing Day, rewritten just a little bit as the Red Devils of Manchester United host the Magpies of Newcastle this afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's a compelling matchup, but it's the context that makes today stand out a little bit. There's always been top-flight football played on Boxing Day in England, going all the way back to December of 1888. It's one of the sport's most enduring traditions, right up there with packed stadiums, early kickoffs, families building the day around the matches. But this year, for the first time in the Premier League era, there's only one game. The league acknowledged the moment in October. They cited a crowded global calendar driven by expanded European competitions, domestic adjustments, fewer available weekends, and December 26th falling on a Friday. The league faced a dilemma: load up Boxing Day on the Friday and leave the weekend empty, or spread the matches out as you normally do and accept that tradition would take a little bit of a hit. They chose the latter, and what's interesting is the reaction, really. The media pushback has been large, but the supporters have really kind of been cool with it. That's because Boxing Day has already been stretched over multiple days in recent years. You haven't had a full calendar all that often in recent years. It's been a few games on Boxing Day, a few games the next day. With where Boxing Day falls on the calendar, being on a Friday, it kind of makes sense to stick with the normal flow of a Premier League weekend and then still have your midweek matches the following week. So symbolically, maybe one match tells you a little bit more about where the modern game is headed, but also just logically, I think it kind of makes sense in 2025. On the pitch, United come in shorthanded. Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainoo are both sidelined. They're both expected back in January. Ruben Amorim has been clear. Mainoo is the future, and patience matters with him. Casemiro returns from suspension, but United will be thin at the back. Historically, this fixture in multiple ways tilts towards United. No club has won more matches on Boxing Day than Manchester United has. Newcastle, meanwhile, have lost more Boxing Day matches than anyone else, just adding to the narrative here. For Newcastle, the season continues to feel like a balancing act. Eddie Howe's side, they look great one week, they look erratic the next. They've dropped points from winning positions. They haven't kept a clean sheet in a while, but they're still within touching distance of the top 4. It's kind of who they are right now. Capable but inconsistent, dangerous yet not dominant. It's one match. It has a lot of meaning in a lot of different ways. Let's go to AFCON. Match day 2 is underway as we're recording. Angola and Zimbabwe are at halftime, 1-1 in the day's opener. 3 other games the rest of the day. And when you get to the second game in the group stage, it's where tournaments start to turn a little bit. Openers are about nerves. They're about introductions. Second matches are about either taking control or fighting back. It's about survival in a lot of ways. Morocco, the hosts, they're in the spotlight. Qualification on the line against Mali. Walid Regragui, the manager, he dismissed injury concerns around Naif Aguerd and confirmed captain Roman Saiss will miss out. Achraf Hakimi could be eased back in, but he's thinking long-term in this tournament for Morocco. Regragui also spoke about patience with young defender Abdelhamid Ait Boudal, reinforcing a message that we've heard since the last World Cup. Morocco are not just chasing individual moments, they're building cycles. And while, of course, they want to win AFCON and do everything possible to do that, they're also looking ahead to the summer, right? Group B, South Africa, they face Egypt in a matchup layered with some history. Hugo Bruce, the manager of South Africa, he made it clear he won't build a plan around purely just stopping Mo Salah or Omar Marmoush. The message is simple. Teams beat teams, not individuals. South Africa have confidence coming into this match. They knocked Egypt out in 2019. They're well organized, they're confident, and they're not afraid in this one. Beyond tactics, AFCON continues to make statements off the field. One is Luka Zidane with Algeria. His stories about identity, about legacy. He's honoring his grandfather, embracing heritage, and carving his own path far from the weight of expectations tied to his famous last name. Zinedine Zidane was in the stands supporting his son Luka at Algeria's opener. Morocco's infrastructure has earned global praise. Heavy rain during this tournament so far, and it hasn't disrupted matches. The country's investment in top tier tournament level conditions has been key. The pitches have been great. The drainage system has been great. You've got some of the hybrid pitches with some artificial fibers in to help stabilize things. It's been really impressive as Morocco will be part of the 2030 World Cup. Definitely lessons to be learned for everywhere in the world on how Morocco has prepared for this tournament. Nigeria's Samuel Chukwueze, he spoke forcefully about respect. He said that AFCON deserves the same regard as the World Cup, as the European Championships, regardless of the timing in the calendar. At the same time, Mali coach Tom Saintfiet, he voiced anger over the CAF's decision to move AFCON to a 4-year cycle. He framed it as a concession to European pressure. I think that's a little harsh. I do think the African Nations League can still give you some of the real positive benefits that you get from having AFCON multiple times in a World Cup cycle. I think in a way it can give you more benefits because you get games against teams at your level. I think it will help a lot of the bottom half teams in the CAF grow. And I think we've seen that here in CONCACAF, and we've seen it in UEFA. So I get where he's coming from to a degree, but I think that horse is already out of the barn, as they say, and the Nations League could be an even better way of growing the game. This isn't just any other tournament right now. You can watch it all on BN Sports. If you don't have BN Sports through your existing TV or streaming packages, go to Fanatis, our friends over at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and you can get signed up. Highly recommended. I've had Fanatis for over a decade. I've thoroughly enjoyed all the matches in this tournament. A lot of fun, some great goals, great drama, and that's only going to increase as we get into match day 2 that is underway right now. Let's bounce into the domestic updates across the NWSL and MLS. You got some tension. You got some transition happening right now. NWSL, the league's newly announced high-impact player rule has sparked a showdown with the Players Association. The league says the rule will allow clubs to spend more to retain stars and compete globally. The union doesn't like that the league just passed the rule and bypassed collective bargaining about it. The union just wants to see that $1 million that can be spread around top stars just put into the salary cap. I'm not sure how this is actually going to work out. I don't know the full structure of how the CBA allows the league to do things without collective bargaining in the situation. I'm not sure what the right pathway is because I think the NWSL pathway is a little different than what MLS did when they created the designated player situation. At its core, I mean, look, it's a philosophical divide here. Do you want centralized control? Do you want negotiated growth? Do you want to build across the entire base of a roster? Do you want to retain star power, which will affect the bottom line maybe a little bit higher? You've already got the Trinity Rodman situation going on. You've got reports that NWSL clubs are chasing Catarina Macario. You've also got the contract that the Washington Spirit did with Trinity Rodman that is still being discussed. It was turned down by the league, saying that it broke the existing rules to sign her to that contract. Maybe that's actually possible now. I'm not sure. A lot of things with NWSL, and as we get to the end of 2025, a lot of things that honestly need to get sorted out quickly. Staying in the NWSL, let's go to Kansas City. The KC Current are set to hire Chris Armas as head coach. A little bit of a surprising decision. Vlatko Andonovski is going from the sideline to the boardroom to oversee the soccer operations of the club, which was a little bit surprising in and of itself. Armas doesn't have experience in the women's game, but he has extensive experience in the game, period. Did not know he would be interested in this move. I'm really fascinated by it. I've always really liked Chris Armas as a coach. I know there was a lot of discussion about his last press conference in Colorado. I think that was extremely overblown. The people that were involved in it seem to have understood that it was a mistake. The frustration came out in a bad way from Armas towards the reporters involved. They understood that. Conversations were had. I think maybe some will try to continue a narrative that just isn't there. I've enjoyed Chris Armas's work. I've enjoyed his passion. I think he will be a great coach wherever he falls. I'm curious to see how that translates to the NWSL and a very good KC team that was the best in the league last year up until a really disappointing playoff loss to Gotham. In MLS, some reports are surrounding Sam Surridge. Talk Sports' Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs reporting that Wolves are chasing Sam Surridge. Wolves are not in a great situation right now. I'm not sure if Surridge just wants to get back to England or not, because Wolves probably isn't the place to go. We'll see. Sean Johnson has landed at DC United. The Brookwood High School grad is going to play for DC next season. The Galaxy trying to get Justin Hack's deal done, signing him as a free agent from NYC. That would stabilize their backline with Hack and with Jacob Glesnes probably setting up at center back. Let's bounce around the corner a little bit. Quick reminder, SDH AM live this morning starting at 9:05. You might be hearing this after that starting time. You can jump in at YouTube, Twitch, or on X. You can also catch it on demand as a podcast if you're hearing this later on as a podcast as well. There's also a feature up now at soccerdownhere.net on Atlanta United's newest signing, goalkeeper Lucas Hoyos. Dives into the path a little bit of how he got here, what he brings, and how it kind of fits into right now where things sit with Atlanta United as you're going into the first season in club history without Brad Kazan on the roster, which is definitely a weird feeling, I'm not going to lie. The refill, some headlines from around the world, quick hits. Sheffield Wednesday, their preferred bidder has been named. James Board leads the consortium. Board's group was selected for providing the strongest fully funded proposal. Still needs EFL approval and the owners and directors test. Chris Richards said it won't be long before he returns after suffering a deep cut to his foot while playing for Crystal Palace. Required stitches, timetable's unclear, but he should be back in a week or so, it sounds like. City Football Group, they have exited Mumbai City. They've withdrawn their funding and divested their stake in Mumbai City FC amid uncertainty surrounding the future of the Indian Super League. The league's master rights agreement expired, and the ISL season has been on hold for months now. The governance is unresolved. There's talk about merging with an existing league in India, and it's very unclear what the future of Indian football looks like at the moment. Martha Stewart has joined Swansea's ownership. She's joined as a minority owner following fellow celebrity investor Snoop Dogg. Those two are one of the most unlikely friendships that we've seen, but it's real. Stewart attended last week's win over Wrexham, another high-profile name in the club's growing ownership group. International friendly watch, we could see Scotland and Curacao in June. Reports out of Curacao suggest that it is close to being finalized. Talks are also reportedly advanced for a Scotland-Cabo Verde match in Rotterdam as well ahead of the World Cup. Not sure if that would be March or in the summer. In Turkey, prosecutors have ordered the detention of 29 additional suspects in an expanding betting investigation involving professional football, including former Galatasaray executive Erden Timur. The scandal has led to mass suspensions of referees and players and a huge crisis regarding the integrity in Turkish football. Real Madrid and France midfielder Eduardo Camavinga has personally funded the creation of a football academy and school in Angola, the country of his birth. The project will combine sport and education. Camavinga calls it a way to give back to his roots and support young people's futures. And in Naples, Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis is reportedly preparing a lucrative long-term contract offer to keep head coach Antonio Conte at the club. Not sure if it'll be a lifetime contract like PSG is talking about with Luis Enrique. Conte's under contract through 2027. He's delivered a Scudetto. He's delivered a Coppa Italia. He has been key. He's not always seen eye to eye with De Laurentiis, so I'm curious to see what this looks like, but it sounds like all is copacetic for both sides of this right now. We'll see how Conte reacts to this. And as we close out 2025, just thank you for supporting the SDH Network, for reading, for listening, for watching, for sharing. This platform only works because you're part of it. And thank you for supporting our partnership with 92.9 The Game and Odyssey as well. Our podcasts and Atlanta Soccer Tonight and Atlanta Soccer Flashback and Atlanta United broadcasts have all been extremely successful, and I know a lot of you are a big part of that. We're heading into 2026 with a lot of momentum, a lot of purpose, and a lot of responsibility, and hopefully we can all together make it a year that none of us will ever forget. From Atlanta to the world, we'll be there every step of the way. We'll always be around the corner from everywhere. Y'all know that by now. That's your edition of Morning Espresso for Friday, December 26th. Hopefully you enjoyed your day yesterday with family and friends. We'll see you on Monday for a new edition of Morning Espresso. Adios.